Crown molding installation. Tips from a pro. Every crown molding installations have on the package the projection side. For our model A110, wall projection is 76 mm and the ceiling projection is 75 mm. To avoid mistakes, cut the template in rigid cardboard or plywood and outline with a pencil on the wall the size of the wall projection. Connect the lines with a ruler. Since the glue mud will cover most of the pencil, it will be much easier to see and follow. Check the wall for the square. This one is inside wall, and if it's not exactly square, adjust accordingly angle of the cut, and you can correct with a sharp cutter. This one is inside wall. On a miter saw, measure 75 mm ceiling projection and create a small jig. On the fence of the saw will be the wall projection, and on the bottom will be ceiling projection. Measure all the necessary measurements on the wall projection. With position of miter saw on the right side 45-degree angle, you can create two cuts. It will be left inside cut or right outside cut. If you're not sure, you can always cut two small pieces and put together as a small jig and right on the front. The most important is to turn around for 180 degrees and face the wall, and you will transfer directly crown molding to the wall and the ceiling. Side corners cuts, you can always check so that the back side of the cut molding is longer than the front face side of the molding. When you put these two inside cuts together, the molding will show 45 degrees inside. To cut the right outside corner, the miter saw will be in 45-degree position on the right side, but the measured piece will be on the left side of the saw. And the front face of the crown molding will be longer than the back face of the crown molding. Always transfer the measurement to the bottom front of the crown molding, and that will be the point to cut. For best cuts, use the saw blade with the most teeth. This one is 10-inch 120 teeth. To make left outside cut, rotate the miter saw 45 degrees on the left side and measure the piece from the right side of the saw. Position is used for the right inside cut on the left side of the saw. Basically, when you are cutting upside down, when you connect two pieces, you will get left and right outside corner cut. If you do not have miter saw, you can create a small jig. The most important is that the bottom of jig is ceiling projection, in our case 75 mm, and then cut two slots on 45 degrees. Our own crown molding adhesive mat consists of 1 kilogram of gypsum mixed with the water, and when it's all ready, add 2 to 3 tablespoons of latex glue, white glue. This part is recorded in real time, and you can see how we're adding the water gradually. Working time for the glue is approximately 30 to 40 minutes. We found this combination inexpensive, very good adhesive property, easy to wipe out and clean, and dry fairly fast. After 2 hours you can start to paint the crown molding. We used approximately 1.5 kilogram of gypsum for 19 meter of the crown molding, mixed in 2 batches. You can see technique how to apply the mud with filling knife. Not too much, not too little. And the filling mud will be pressed during the montage. It is important to put the filling mud on the both sides and also at the end of the corner. If you are new to crown molding installation, it is much easier if the 2 person install the crown molding, so you can get much better straight line. But if you are alone, you always start from the corner and then slowly push the up and down so that the mud coming out, and then follow the line on the wall and you will get the straight line. When you finish the first half, then you move to the second half of the 2 meter long piece. When the both sides are first attached to the wall, then you can start with a filling knife to take out excess of the mud. You will see how it should look like. With the 2 filling knives, one in one hand and the other hand, fill up the gaps, and then as you can see, you can take off the excess mud. When you finish this part, the most important is to have the wet rag or sponge and change the water frequently so the water is always fairly clean. Not too much wet, otherwise it will start to leak down the wall. It look a little bit frustrating, but at the end you don't have to come back and do it again. You can do everything in one go. Shaping is easiest to do when the adhesive is still fresh and it's easily to wiped out, so you have nice finish. For the corners you use your finger, but the very important is that you clean your finger all the time, so you can get nice finish. Smooth finish you will get with the wiping out with a wet sponge. For the corners and pillars, first install the big pieces and then you can accurately measure the small pieces and then produce the small pieces and attach them. You can always do the corners of the small pieces at the end when you're gonna have a couple of restovers from the big cuts. Minimal. You always factor at least 10% length of the molding for the cuts left and right. Always measure the next piece after you install the one piece on the wall. Don't cut too many pieces in advance. When you use the sponge, always rotate the sponge so that you not use the sponge on the same side. So the sponge is always clean and clean frequently. Otherwise you will have the excess glue on the wall as well. After 2 hours when mud is dry, check the corners and overall with a sandpaper 180, 220 or 300 and correct the small pieces before you proceed to paintings. Usually outside corners need a little bit more attention, so you can smooth it up the small pieces of mud. For the painting, use the best color that you can buy, and you need a small amount, not thick, in 2 layers. Fill the pot about 1 inch and then start to paint. The first layer have to be thin and smooth so that you don't see the strikes from the brush. Wait for 2 hours and then you can proceed and apply the second layer. Exactly the same, very thin, yeah? And then when it's completely dry, correct the wall and the ceiling with the wall and ceiling paint if you paint it over. Crown molding you can install in the furnished house as well. We covered only air condition and the box for the curtains, moved the bed in the middle of the room and left about 1 meter for the ladders. The rest we could do just cleaning the floor when the mud was dry for the small pieces that fall down. I hope this video will help you to correctly install crown molding and that you learn something. Thank you, and for further information you can contact us at brionidesign.com in Thailand. Bye bye.